No one cares about your personal life. Instead of thinking you have to share personal details about yourself to be successful in social media or build an online presence, understand this. Your personal brand does not equal your personal life. What do I mean by this?
And if you're looking for a more immersive personal branding experience, check out our new women community, Brand Academy. Meet successful women who share your ambition and values and learn together strategies that help you grow in your business, brand, and life.
So today's topic is about how to overcome insecurities on social media, and specifically how to gain confidence on social media. This is part of our Valentine's edition. Next week is Valentine, and our, edition is that we will focus on self-love, and specifically self-love in your career, in your business, in your brand, in your life. And that's why it's so important that we know exactly how to become more confident in our life, in our business, in our brand. Let's get into it. How to overcome insecurities and build confidence on social media. So as we all know, social media can be a double-edged sword. On the one hand, we have, this global portal where we can connect people from all over the world. We can share our story. We can build our personal brand. We can monetize our talents. If you haven't seen my last video, check it out on YouTube. It's about how to monetize your talents. You can find it in my profile. And on the other hand, it's also a source of insecurity and self-doubt, right? It's where we post content and we feel, okay, how personal do I want to become? If I want to build a personal brand, do I need to talk about my personal life? Do I need to become super private? Do I need to share private details? And specifically for introverts, one of the things that can also be really off-putting are all the trends that are not really built for introverts. So if you're struggling to kind of feel authentic while growing your social media presence, you're definitely not alone. A lot of us have faced it or are facing it. And it's often very intimidating to have this fast-paced, trend-focused world of social media with people you might know in real life, people you might not know, people you might feel like are judging you when they see your content. Maybe you're working, you're an employee, maybe you're working in a company, but you use social media to build your business. That could also be a source of anxiety because you feel like, oh, my colleagues are watching me or people are judging me. What am I doing outside of work? All these kind of things. So let's talk about some good news for you on how to really create confidence on social media. And those are not just mindset tips, those are real practical tips that you can use to build an online presence that feels true to who you are and feels like it represents you and doesn't give you anxiety every time you open an app. So let's start with something that will be good news for all the introverts out there, or all the people that feel like they don't want to put their entire personal life out there. No one cares about your personal life. Instead of thinking you have to share personal details about yourself to be successful in social media or build an online presence, understand this. Your personal brand does not equal your personal life. What do I mean by this? Your personal brand is a mixture between your personal story, identity, and passion, and your professional qualifications, experiences, and opinions. Now, unless you want to become a lifestyle, influencer, which I don't believe a lot of people here on LinkedIn want to become, you don't want to, unless you want to, let's say, put your entire personal life out there, tell people what, about your family, about, how you wake up, how your entire house looks like, and you want to share that lifestyle, then yes, your personal life does matter. But when it comes to building a personal brand that will help you attract more opportunities in your business, into your career, into your life, then you need to find the balance between your personal and your professional. So what I always say is like the top example that I like to give is people don't care about what you have for lunch or what you did last weekend unless you are a nutritional expert. Yes, then your lunch will be, will matter. But if not, your personal brand is not so much about the details of, how you go about your day-to-day life. It's more about the aspects of your personal life that can bring a story and bring character to your expertise and to what you can bring to the world. So your personal brand and how you can use social media in that way is you can combine. These are 3 parts for each. 3 parts for personal, 3 parts for professional. So if you want, write that down. It's really easy and helpful to have this as a note whenever you want to post content. So it's a combination of your personal story, identity, and passion. So your story, your personal story, your identity, what makes you different, what makes you stand out in your field, and your passion. So what are you interested in? What are things you are excited about in your career, in your life, in your hobbies, right? What are the things that you really love doing? Story, identity, passion, and then your professional qualifications, experiences, and opinions. Now, it's very important that when you build a personal brand, you have a combination of both, because what is super boring is if you just talk about your professional qualifications or your opinions, but you never bring your personal identity or story into it. So that's what makes social media a perfect place to use this strategy of combining the three of each part. So your personal story, identity, and passion, your professional qualifications, experiences, and opinions. And in each piece of content, you try to merge those two. So for instance, if you're talking about, let's say you are you're a nutritional expert, right? You're in the fitness industry. Now, don't just talk about here are my top tips for nutritional consultants or here are my top tips to get fit. Talk about this is my journey of how I got into fitness, or this is my journey of how I fell in love with food. And that's how I learned to acquire all these expertise. Now that is an interesting story. That's when we learn more about you, but we learn it in the framework of your expertise. Start thinking about your unique story, what makes you stand out, and then combine it with your professional expertise. So that's the first part. The second is, and this is the really, really big tip that I have for you. If you, let's say you are an introvert, or if you out of personal reasons, you don't want to show too much of your personal life online, you don't want to expose too much to the world, you don't want people to know too much about you. Maybe your definition of modesty also requires you that you say, okay, I don't want to show my face on camera, or I don't want to use music in my content. Whatever it is where you say, okay, social media gives me anxiety because it makes me do this, but I don't want to do it. Then what you need to do is you need to combine trends with your personality. So social media success for you looks like this. You understand social media trends and strategies, and you combine them with your personality and character. And that's the key to successful social media growth, is to understand what are the latest trends that are working. So let's for instance say you don't want to feel pressured to follow every trend or dance on TikTok or do whatever you feel like right now is in trend. When it comes to the social media growth, you need to understand this, you need to find the sweet spot lies between merging strategies that are proven to work on social media with your unique personality and character. So for example, if you know that short form videos or micro videos, so videos that are under 1 minute or under 30 seconds long, are trending and are dominating social media in 2023, and that's on all platforms. That's on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and even here on LinkedIn. If you know that this works, that strategy works, you can still participate in the trend without having to abide to what other people do. You don't have to use trending music. You don't have to show your face. You don't have to dance in front of the camera. You don't have to do some weird trend that you feel like doesn't fit your personality. But try to fit that strategy so you know, okay, short form videos, micro videos work. How can I make it fit to who I am and what my character is? So for example, I myself, I don't use music on my social media. I don't use music in my content because I know a lot of my followers, they don't listen to music or they don't like to be exposed to music online. So what instead of using trending music and doing like cool videos because I know that they will blow up, I have to find a different way to create trending content that still works on the platforms without being able to tap into that resource of using trending sounds. One of the things I can do is I can still use the trending sound, but I can lower the volume to 0 and then still do my voiceover, or I can just find different ways of creating exciting, engaging content. Another thing that I do is I like to do vlogs, but I don't like people to know exactly what I do in which situation or in what moment. So I do vlogs that are a couple of weeks before I post them. So instead of saying, hey, this is my vlog from Mexico, and then telling people that I'm in Mexico right now, I create the vlog and I wait a couple of weeks until I post them. That's just my personal preference, for instance. Another thing is, people don't really know too much about my personal life, but they know what drives me. They know what values and beliefs I have and how I bring them into my work, because I share that in my content. So instead of saying, I live in this city, I'm this much old, this is my family structure, I say, okay, what can I share that is personal, but that is still in the realm of it's not too personal for me to share online. So I use very specific stories that I believe are impactful for my audience, from my life, and I tell those stories. But sometimes I don't share all the stories that, all the experiences, all the things that happen in my life. I choose very specific ones. So how you can do that is you can figure out who is your audience and what part of my life, stories and experiences and identity would resonate with them without revealing too much about myself. Because that's usually where insecurities and anxiety comes, is if you feel like you are pushed out of your comfort zone, out of that comfort of your own control. You feel like, okay, I put something out there that is not really in my control. So what you want to do is you want to gain back control by really knowing exactly and choosing exactly what stories to tell. So for my audience, for instance, I have very different audiences. I have corporate experts that hire me as a public speaker and a consultant when it comes to brand purpose, brand strategy, Gen Z marketing. I have younger women and younger professionals that want to build a personal brand and want to become entrepreneurs or want to build, something for them that makes them financially independent. And those are usually women of color, women of faith. They come to me and say, hey, you inspire me because, you wear the headscarf in your field, or you're the only person of color in your field, or you're the only woman in your field. And that really inspires me to also get out of my comfort zone. And then, I have a bunch of other audiences. But basically, what I think about is the questions that I always get from my audience. And then I think about stories in my life that I'm comfortable telling that can inspire them or educate them. So I'm not afraid to talk about my experiences of, wearing a headscarf in Europe, in Germany, or in the field that I'm in, of being the only woman or person of faith or person of color in a lot of meeting rooms or a lot of places that I am. So I'm happy to tell these stories. But for instance, instead of so if I have a negative experience, instead of exposing every single detail, oh, this company wronged me and this is what happened and this person talked bad about me and I keep the stories in a way that and that's my personal opinion, other people don't do that. I keep the stories in a way that it's still helpful, it still gives enough detail to inspire, motivate, and educate, but it doesn't expose too much about the details of those experiences. So for instance, if I tell you, hey, I was asked to come into an interview to be hired in Munich, and instead of asking me about my professional opinions and experiences, they asked me if I would be cool to go with them to Oktoberfest and drink alcohol. And I said, no, I'm happy to, go to lunch with you or go for dinner with you and, socialize and spend time with all the other people in the company. But I don't drink alcohol, so I wouldn't be comfortable just going into the Oktoberfest with you guys. But that's fine. There are other ways to socialize, right? And so the next day I get the call and they say, oh, we don't think you're a cultural fit. We just don't think that you fit into our culture. And like you wouldn't be able to socialize and feel like you belong to the team. And I know some people who would go out and exactly say who the company is. They would give the details of the person who they experienced this with. But for me, the point of this story is not to say someone wronged me or someone behaved disrespectfully or all the details of this interaction that was, out of place or super unprofessional. I just want to tell the story for my audience to understand that I didn't lose anything by not getting this opportunity. Actually, it helped me because I wouldn't want to have this job if they think the only way to socialize with me is to go out drinking alcohol. So for me, what I know is this story works on social media because it connects with my audience. It tells a story about my personal life, and it gives a learning for them, for young women who feel like they don't fit into the corporate workplace, or feel like they won't get a job because of who they are, what they represent, whether they wear a headscarf or not. So for me, that story works. I don't need to go into too much detail that would reveal who the company was and who the person was, or how much I was disrespected. I can go into as much detail as I am comfortable with. And so what you need to do is, in order to create confidence on social media, create your own boundaries. Understand, okay, if I know personal stories connected with a learning work on social media, or short form videos work on social media, how can I create them in a way that feels like I'm in control, and in a way that I make the rules? That I say, okay, this is how much I am comfortable sharing. Someone else might be comfortable sharing more, or starting a boycott of the company or whatever. I am not, and that's fine for me. So you need to create your own. You need to create your own boundaries, and then turn trends and strategies into a format that works for you and your personality. This idea of finding the sweet spot between your strategies that work on social media and your personal character. I also know a lot of people are not comfortable to show their face on camera, whether you're an introvert, whether that's your definition of modesty, or whether you just don't want to, you just don't feel like that's you, that fits your character. There are 1,000 ways to create short form trending videos without showing your face. I've shared some examples on my LinkedIn this week, and you'll also find some examples on my newsletter today. But some examples could be you create videos without revealing your face by just doing aesthetic mood videos. So you can, for instance, if you say, hey, I can never do a vlog, and vlogs really work on YouTube and TikTok and even LinkedIn. I can never do a vlog because I don't want to show my face. That's not true. There are a lot of vloggers out there where you never see their face. But you need to look beyond your current environment. There are a lot of Japanese vloggers on YouTube that I love watching because they have these aesthetic vlogs where they, you can still see their body moving, but their face is always omitted. So it shows them in the vlog from the back, or only their hands, or only equipment that they're using, or if they're cooking, they show how they prepare the food, but they never really show their face or who they are. There are a lot of ways. You can also use voiceover, so let's say B-roll with a voiceover. You can create a podcast format videos. You can use animations. There are a lot of things that you can use to still create short form video without showing a face. So always think about the key to successful growth on social media is to understand the latest trends and strategies that work, but then approach it in a way that is true to who you are. Because if you're trying to follow every social media trend and they don't fit at all to your personality, you will lose motivation, you will lose consistency, you will stop posting because you're so overwhelmed, and you would just hate social media because you have that negative relationship to, I always have to change to be there and to be successful. No, you can find your own way to building social media following your way. So we have, number 1, balancing your personal and professional. Number 2, combining trends with your personality. And number 3, I think this is one of the very important things. You have to build a real connection with your audience. A lot of times what stresses us out about social media is the idea of, I just want to, have more followers. I want to grow. And social media can often feel like a numbers game where we fixate on just getting more followers. But it's really important to remember that quality is more important than quantity. You might just have a couple of thousand followers, but if some of them are CEOs of big companies, they will hire you for, your next gig. If you have 400,000 followers and none of them are really, not really engaging, don't really care about what you have to share, not ready to buy from you or interact with you, then that doesn't really help you. So insecurity on social media can a lot of times come from, I don't feel like I'm reaching enough people, I should be growing faster. But imagine, even if you only have 100 followers, the chances are, if they would all stand in one room to listen to what you have to say, that number would seem super high. You would be really, you would be overwhelmed if there would be 100 people standing in the room just listening to you. And that's the whole concept. If you have 100 followers and they all listen, they all interact, they all engage with your content, then that is much more useful than having 100,000 followers that really don't care about what you have to say. They just, scroll over you. So focus on building a genuine connection with your existing followers. So you will feel more confident in that you're actually having an impact on people. And the good thing is, psychologically, that helps you to become more confident because you're actually creating relationships. You're answering DMs, you're creating conversations in the comments, you're using questions that you get from your followers to create new content. That's what happens with time nowadays. I don't really have to think about creating content from scratch. I just have to go through my DMs, my messages, comments under my posts, and I just answer them. And the answer is a new piece of content. And by focusing on building these genuine connections, you will grow automatically because those people will say, hey, they will tell their best friend, hey, have you heard about her? Have you heard about him? You need to follow her. I love her. Look at her content. They will tag each other in the comments. That's when you start, reaching a wider audience if you focus on the people that already follow you. So don't be afraid to reach out, engage with your followers, respond to comments and messages, start conversations, ask for opinions on your content. What do you want to see next month? I'm not really sure what kind of content I want to create next month. What do you want to learn from my field that I can help you with? That's how you build a loyal and supportive community that can actually help you grow and succeed on social media. And then the last one, that's probably my favorite, block the haters, literally. On social media, just in real life, a lot of times the hate comments and the trolls can seem louder, and obviously they hurt more than genuine comments or positive feedback. So what you need to start doing is blocking people. If people spread negativity in the comments, if people bully others in the comments, if people use, cuss words in the comments or with you, block them. This is your place, right? Your social media account is like your house. If someone brings trash into your house, you throw them out of your house. Do the same on social media, just block them. It doesn't show that you're insecure if you block people. I love blocking people. If people come with negative energy, if they don't have anything useful to say, they're just here to spread hate, I have no problem blocking you because I don't want that negativity in my account or be in the comments with my followers. I don't want my followers to feel like they are not taken care of on my account. So remember, your personal brand is about being true to who you are, stay positive, stay authentic, and focus on the love that you get. Focus on people that are here to actually engage and share positivity, because usually positive people and positive voices are higher in number, but we know negative comments, even if they're lower in number, they just hurt more. So just block haters. If people are disrespectful, get rid of them, and that will boost your confidence or even your comfort level of being on social media 1,000 times. Trust me. Just remember, I think the most important part of this is the strategic part, to understand trends and strategies on social media that work, and then combining them with your personality. How I started building my personal brand was actually through my podcast, because I was afraid to go on social media. I was afraid to show my face. I was quite new. I was starting from scratch. That was 2018 when I had zero online presence. Literally, Singapore did not exist on the internet or on social media. And so I think the only place that I was on was LinkedIn since university, but no other social media place. And I didn't post anywhere. So my podcast was really the way that I could use personal branding strategies that worked together with the place that I was at the time, which was I just wanted people to hear what I had to say. I didn't want to, put myself out there for people's scrutiny. So a podcast is always a great way, especially if you say, okay, you're a bit insecure or if you're an introvert, but you have things to share because you just, you have a talent, you have a skill, you have something that people need to hear. Start a podcast. And I actually have a podcast course out that has been one of the, really big bangers here on my course. It has been out since a year and a half, and people are still asking where to get access to it. So I have a special offer just for listeners of today. I'm going to drop it into the comments of this event where you can get my podcast course at a discount, and you will get $150 discount on my podcast course, Start the Right Podcast. If you've always thought, I want to start a podcast, make sure that you sign up. Let me just put that into the comments. And the discount only is for the next 100 signups, which happens pretty fast. So make sure that you sign up soon if you want to get that $150 discount. And if you're interested to learn more about building a personal brand, I have my 7-day personal branding challenge up on Skillshare. You will get 1 month free with the link that I just dropped into the comments of my post. And as I said, my podcast course is also out with $150 discount. So make sure that you grab that before it's gone. And thank you so much for joining. I hope you have a beautiful Saturday, a beautiful weekend, and a beautiful start into the next week. And if you feel like you need a revision of everything that we talked about today, make sure that you sign up for my newsletter, Brand with Sina. It's in my profile. And there you can see all the learnings in today's newsletter. And I'll see you next time, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. Bye, everyone.
And if you're looking for a more immersive personal branding experience, check out our new women community, Brand Academy. Meet successful women who share your ambition and values and learn together strategies that help you grow in your business, brand, and life.
If you loved this video, please make sure that you like and subscribe and share this with someone who needs to hear this. And I'll see you next time. Assalamu alaikum.